sacrifice illusions, nothing more. And as illusions go, I find the gifts illusions try to hide, awaiting me in shining welcome, and in readiness to give God's ancient messages to me. His memory abides in every gift that I receive of him, and every dream serves only to conceal the self, which is God's only Son, the likeness of himself, the Holy One who still abides in him forever, as he still abides in me. I can give up, but what was never real. I can give up, but what was never real. Father, to you all sacrifice remains forever inconceivable, and so I cannot sacrifice except in dreams. As you created me, I can give up nothing you gave me. What you did not give has no reality. What loss can I anticipate except the loss of fear and the return of love into my mind? I can give up, but what was never real. I can give up, but what was never real. I can give up, but what was never real. I can give up, but what was never real. Okay, lesson 322. I can give up, but what was never real. Paragraph 1. I sacrifice illusions, nothing more. And as illusions go, I find the gifts illusions tried to hide, awaiting me in shining welcome, and in readiness to give God's ancient messages to me. His memory abides in every gift that I receive of him, and every dream serves only to conceal the self, which is God's only Son, the likeness of himself, the Holy One who still abides in him forever, as he still abides in me. Paragraph 2. Father, to you all sacrifice remains forever inconceivable, and so I cannot sacrifice except in dreams. As you created me, I can give up nothing you gave me. What you did not give has no reality. What loss can I anticipate except the loss of fear and the return of love into my mind? So Jesus here, we're going to read it again, but let me just kind of try to summarize. Jesus is bringing in a very important message that he has been sharing throughout the entire course, which is that it's called atonement without sacrifice. What does that mean? It means that God did not sacrifice his only Son in order to save the world. That would be a crazy idea. Not impossible, but it just kind of preposterous that God would sacrifice his only beloved Son in order to save the world. Now, we could talk about this, and for some people this obviously works. The question is, does it work? Do people really go all the way with this what they believe, in terms of, that Jesus died on the cross for the sins of humanity, and all we need to do is believe that that is so, and we are saved. Something like that, right? That is, you might say that a Christian, let's just say a fundamental Christian concept. You might even say a article of faith, right? Maybe the number one, numero uno article of faith. But the Course is saying something different, which is that first of all, God did not make the world, right? God did not create the world. The world was made, not created, but made from a split off part of the mind that thought that it was separate, and that created an illusion, right? A cosmic illusion. And the Hindus talk about this, they have the concept of Maya, that there's this veil of illusion. Now, I'm not saying the Course is exactly the same thing, but it might be semantics, and we can get into that maybe on another video. But let's just talk about that the world is a made up concept, basically, right? It's not ultimately real, and if we could remove the veils, right, we would see things as they truly are. And this is also saying that we do not need to sacrifice anything. Like, we think that if the ego is gone, if we don't have an ego anymore, we would not exist. That would be annihilation. So we're in our mind, we're thinking this is asking us to give up ourself, right? This is asking us to give up our definitely our personality, right? Our personal history and our personal sense of self, and our and that's scary. But it's scary because we have taken the illusion to be so real. But if we did not take the illusion to be so real, if we didn't take the illusion so seriously, we would get closer and closer to what this is saying, which is that we don't really need to sacrifice anything, because our true self has always been, right? Our true self is just waiting for us to come home, right? To what we really are, and to let go of what we really are not. And so God is not cruel, right? There's that lesson too, right? There's no cruelty in God, and there's none in me, which means that God would not ask us to sacrifice something that is part of us, right? God would never ask us to do that, because that would be cruel. Rather, all we need to do is let go of what was never real to begin with, and we can happily do that, right? But we might not think we can happily do that right now, but we will, as we go along, we will start to see that whatever is not what we really are, we don't want, right? That's let that go, right? So I can give up, but what was never real. The but here again is, Jesus has a big but. He keeps using the word but, and it's kind of an archaic but. It's like the but in row, row, row your boat. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, merrily, merrily, merrily. Life is but a dream, meaning life is only a dream, or life is just a dream. So I can give up only what was never real, right? The only thing I have to give up is what was never real, in other words, right? I have nothing to give up except what was never real. And hallelujah, right? So I sacrifice illusions, nothing more. And as illusions go, I find the gifts illusions tried to hide, awaiting me in shining welcome, and in readiness to give God's ancient messages to me. So what are those gifts, right? What are the gifts that illusions try to hide? Well, you might say peace, joy, happiness goes along with joy, right? Freedom, true happiness, true joy, true just beingness, true love, all the things that we, true oneness, true unity, true harmony, all the things that we aspire to. His memory abides in every gift that I receive of him. In every dream serves only to conceal the self, which is God's only Son. Now, dream and illusion are synonymous. So whenever, sometimes Jesus kind of goes back and forth between the word illusion and dream, they're the same. Every dream serves only to conceal the self, which is God's only Son, the likeness of himself, the Holy One who still abides in him forever, as he still abides in me. This is an interesting last sentence here. Let's read it again. Every dream serves only to conceal the self, which is God's only Son, the likeness of himself, the Holy One who still abides in him forever, as he still abides in me. It's interesting phrasing. But just to simplify it, God only has one Son. That one Son is all of us, right? There's no separation. We are all ultimately one. And there's only oneness. Even though the Course sometimes, even though Jesus in the Course sometimes speaks in dualistic language, meaning language that suggests that there are more than one Son, like he says sons, he says gifts, he says illusions, he says dreams, right? But really, in reality, there's only one illusion. There's only one reality. There's only one, and there really isn't an illusion, but there seems to be an illusion. There's only one gift. There's not a lot of different gifts. There's only one gift in reality. There's only one reality in reality. There's only one Son. And that one Son is one with the Father forever. And that has always been the case. And that is what the Course calls the atonement, right? And this is where this idea of the atonement without sacrifice. God has never changed. Our true self has never changed. Therefore, there's no sacrifice that is needed because we have never really changed, right? Nothing ever really happened, right? And so why would there need to be a sacrifice if that's the case, right? So all that is happening is we're letting go, we're removing the veils that are in the way of seeing the eternal truth, right? The truth that has always been. Paragraph 2. Father, to you all sacrifice remains forever inconceivable, and so I cannot sacrifice except in dreams, right? In this world, in this dream world, in this world of separation, in this world of perception, it does seem like we need to sacrifice, right? It doesn't seem as if that does seem to make sense in this world, but it really does not make sense, and especially if you think about it. I mean, this is an argument that people make even without knowing the Course. They say, why would God need to create a world in which there was suffering to begin with, right? Why would God need to create a world and then decide he wanted to destroy the world, or he needed to find someone who would save the world? What would be the point of that, right? Why not just create a world that is in which that is not even necessary? And the Course's answer is, God did not create a world in which there is suffering. That is the illusion of the Son. The Son fell asleep and had this dream, and in the dreamed this dream of separation and sin, guilt, and all the other things, right, that go along with that, fear. But that is not God's will. That is not God's dream. That is not God's creation. I can give up nothing you gave me. What you did not give has no reality. What loss can I anticipate except the loss of fear and the return of love into my mind? So again, I just want to emphasize that one of the things that people really struggle with, and what I think is one of the biggest blocks, is this idea that without my ego, who would I be, right? what would become of me without the ego, right? Would I perish? Would I be annihilated? Would I be destroyed? And the Course keeps telling us in many different ways that no, our true self stands forever and has never changed, and we cannot really, there is no loss, right? We can never be lost. We can never be destroyed. We can never be eternally damned. We can never be anything really except, our true self is just waiting. Our shining self, loving being is just waiting for us to return home. And that has been the call forever. Let's just I wanted to make this one shorter, but I didn't really do it. But I'll try to make the song a little shorter. You can always just, you probably already do it, just forward through the song if you don't want to hear the song. Some people like it, some people don't. Sometimes I'm on, sometimes I'm not, All right. I keep trying to keep it real. I hope you will as well. And I'll see you. I had a good thing to sign off. I forgot what it was now. But yeah, keep it real. It's been real. See you soon.